I remember when I was in school, whenever our class had received our test back, there was always this one girl who continued getting a high score in the classroom. She received A's on like every test and was one of the top grads of our school. I never understood how someone could be as smart as her and thought it was amazing. It was like a group of scientists had secretly got together and cloned a female version of Einstein himself. But, like always, the other students thought she either cheated or was the teacher's pet. It took time, but after I became her friend, I found out she never even considered herself the smartest person. In fact, she always felt intimidated because she felt like she was the slowest learner in the entire classroom. But what pushed her above the other students was her willpower to study every day for hours and hours. Like crazy hours. She would get home, take her books out, and study, not even watch any TV shows. And that's how she became one of the top students in our school. It wasn't luck, it was self-discipline that took her further than any of our other classmates. And that's where Brian Tracy's covers in No Excuses, the power of self-discipline. Every day, people give themselves dozens of excuses as to why they can't do something. They say, "Oh, I can't do it because I want to watch a movie instead. It's too hard, I'll never understand it." Or the classic, "I'm just not lucky enough and life is unfair." So the first part that he covers is personal success. A big trend I usually saw in class were students who received bad grades in school, but always said, "You know, someday I'll pick up my slack and work harder. I just want to have fun right now." But for the rest of the school year, they remained the same person who goofed off in school and didn't take life seriously. And I see it happen often today. People struggle with simple decisions and tell themselves they're going to change their bad habits one day. And the most popular ones I usually hear are, "Someday I'll go to the gym and work out to lose this belly fat." And within that same day, they're at Burger King ordering a large Whopper. What separated my friend in school from the other students was her willpower to not live in the future, but the moment. She didn't tell herself she'll study later when she felt motivated. She delayed her instant satisfactions by studying every night so she could get the best grades possible. Don't wait for the right day or a perfect set of emotions before you decide to do something. As long as you can mentally think, go ahead and take that action now. Every second you think about doing something is another second that you just lost. And the second part that he covers is work. Now this is the big one for anyone who works in a business or want to start one. I once had a friend who wanted to start his own comic book series, and almost every day he used to tell me about his big ideas and how great it would be to get them published. But when I asked him why he didn't try to create his own comic book and then send it to a publisher, he said he was too worried it was going to be rejected. He'd rather live in his dreams where his comic books was published than try to turn them into a reality and let the rest of the world see his talents. But I won't hide it, I had this fear too. I was scared of anyone ever seeing my writing despite how much I loved doing it. But I knew I couldn't hide from criticism forever and really wanted to do something that I enjoyed. So after I created a blog, wrote some articles, and allowed others to see them, I realized it was simpler than I thought. Sure, some people still give me grammar tips and tell me when I make a mistake, but conquering my fears made me realize just how small our fears actually are. Now you may be wondering how these 2 points relate to business or sales. A bad habit that hold people back from seeing their full potential is the fear of failure. They rather sit back and daydream about creating the perfect app instead of putting in the effort to make it happen. They rather underestimate themselves and never see themselves as a CEO of a company one day, even if they have the potential. The best way to defeat fear is to take action and see the results. You may not like it, but at least you know what the results are and what to do next time. This is what a leader does. A leader never underestimates his potentials because he doesn't let fear rule him. If he does badly at something, he picks up the pieces and try again. Conquer your small fears so it gives you the courage to tackle your bigger ones. And with every fear you defeat, you increase your confidence to try new things out. You become less afraid of challenges or obstacles that might come your way because you already know you can get past them if they do. Are you afraid you can't read an entire book within a week? Give it a try and see how it goes. I know people who could read an entire book in a day, and they're not even geniuses. It takes me around 2 to 3 days before I can even finish a book. And it can even take a week if it's like super complicated with big words and complicated standpoints. If you're working for a company, you want to be that person who can figure out what people need and will pay for. You want to be that person who can do better than everyone else because you're not afraid of failure if you make a mistake. You know you can move ahead by taking a risk by opening a business that you always thought about. And the last major point he makes is self, family, and friends. So let's use our imaginations for a second. If someone made a clone of yourself and sat him or her in the room with you, do you think you will want to listen to what you have to say? Truly think about that question for a minute and think about how you behave, the way you speak to people, and how you communicate. Do you think you act positive with yourself, or do you think you see yourself as a total jerk? There's times where I have to sit back and ask myself if I'm really the type of person I want to spend my time with. I hate it when my emotions get the best of me and act negative towards the people I love. It's a lose-lose situation. I wouldn't want someone pushing their anger over my head when I didn't even do anything bad to them. So why should I behave that way towards other people? Brian Tracy covers that if you want a happy marriage, then you're going to have to learn how to be a better communicator and listener. Don't just nod your head and pretend to hear what he or she has to say. Truly listen to the emotions behind the words and remain quiet until they want you to speak. If you have bad habits, drop them and replace them before they ruin your marriage or relationship. There was once a man who had a gambling addiction, and despite how much his wife begged him to stop visiting the casino after work, he did what he wanted to do despite his losses. And as a result, one day when he came home after losing a fortune, his wife and children had left the house. One of the best benefits of friendship is having someone who accepts you for your best and worst qualities. I place a lot of importance in words because it's not possible to remain good all the time. We're going to slip up, say something we didn't mean to say, or act childish. But it's the friends who accept you for those small flaws and expect nothing in return except for your companionship that you should look out for. Those are the type of people you want in your life. And if you're thinking, or probably saying, but I don't have any friends, you freaking jock, one of the easiest ways to make friends is to accept people for the way they are. Rather than judging them for liking Pokemon, see why they like it or let them do their own thing. Be positive and upbeat so you don't be the energy vampire of the group. Nothing is worse than having that one person who's constantly complaining everywhere you go. For any relationship in your life, you need to practice self-discipline daily so you can keep your good habits in check. You're going to have days where you want to push everyone away from you without even realizing it. Your negative emotions can easily destroy a meaningful relationship if you don't pay close attention to them. But if you continue thinking about other people more than yourself and how you can be a positive trait in their life, you'll suddenly find it easier to keep yourself together. And that's the key. Think less about yourself and more about other people in your life. Think about what you can offer them than the other way around. And that's Brian Tracy's No Excuses, The Power of Self-Discipline.